Welcome back to Mountain Morning Show. I am joined by Jeannie Webb Zeile, local author. And Jeannie, thank you for joining us today on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I understand you've just recently published your first book.
Yes.
So it's called Angels by...
It's called The Angels by My Side,
Mm-hmm.
and it came out in September. And it's been a very long journey to get here, to tell the story of a very special day that happened many years ago.
Sure. Tell us about the events that drove the nucleus of your book.
Well, the accident happened on April 19th, 1980. I had just turned 21. Mm-hmm. My mother and I were visiting my brother and his family in Fort Collins, Colorado. Mm-hmm. And we were on our way back home to California. And my last recollection for many years was up until 11:30 that morning when we had stopped to get gas and snacks. Wow. Back on the road again. And at approximately 6:30 in the evening, we were about 45 minutes north of Salina, mm-hmm. when an 86-year-old woman who was traveling by herself got out of her lane to pass cars and just never got back over.
Wow.
And she hit us head on. And back then, the lanes were just side by side.
Oh, sure.
Both directions.
Yeah.
Of course, it's changed much.
Which highway
much
are we
different.
talking about?
It was Highway 70.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took the EMTs about an hour and a half to get to us.
Oh, wow.
And the last recollection that I had of the accident of that day for over 26 years was only up until 11:30 in the morning.
That's amazing.
And
No, so you lost your mother in this accident,
I
right?
I did.
And what was the immediate aftermath for you? So you're 21 years old, hospitalized?
21 years old, and my last recollection was that I was driving the car. But like I said, the accident happened approximately 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
And when I woke up in the hospital, the very first thing I saw was the faces of my two best girlfriends that I had grown up with. My father, who I had not seen for many years,
yeah.
and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the Utah Valley in Provo Hospital. And I knew my mother was gone, but I had no recollection of the accident. I had no idea what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 days after the accident happened, I received a letter from one of the EMTs. And it was just the most uplifting and most wonderful letter that I had ever received from a perfect stranger.
Sure.
And that letter was my strength and my courage for many, many years. I still have it to this day. But he told me in the letter that through the entire time that I was under their care, I never once cried and never moaned in pain. I was awake the entire time. My injuries were extremely severe. And he claims that I gave them the strength to do what they had to do to save my life.
Wow. And this is part of what you've written about here?
Part of the story,
So
correct.
tell me what you cover in the book that you've written.
In the book, I cover, from the very beginning, how I grew up, where I grew up, my family, and I cover the details of the accident, and then also the details of how I went back to meet the EMTs and go through the process of remembering every single detail of the accident.
Wow.
And this happened 26 years after the accident.
So did you have to track people down? Was it difficult?
I still had the letter and the envelope from the EMT, and so I Googled him, and I found that he was still living at the same address in Salina. And so I reached out to him, mailed the letter on a Thursday, and 2 days later on a Saturday, I received a phone call from him. And he said, "Yes, I am the Lee Christensen you're looking for." And we went on from there and developed a great friendship. He helped me. It was approximately 4 years later when I finally came up to Utah. But he helped me so immensely just to walk through the entire process. We returned to the actual site of the accident, and for nearly an hour, I went through the process of looking out the window of his truck pulled off the side of the road, and I just remembered every single detail.
So are you saying that for 20 years, 20 some odd years, you had a gap in your memory?
Absolutely.
And then after going back with this EMT tech, basically you're able to recreate or recraft these memories by being in the place.
I did.
Wow.
He still had copies of the newspaper articles, the accident report, and it was all very helpful in just putting the pieces of my puzzle together.
Now, how long did you take writing your book?
It has been, and ironically enough, I had an accident where I went out one morning on a snowy morning to take a great walk and ended up falling and hurting the same leg that I still have a steel rod in my right femur bone.
Wow.
So it's due to that made me sit still long enough to write the book, and it was over the course of 3 months.
Wow, 3 months, wow.
Yes.
Did you feel like there were times when you just had this incredible energy and you were able to
Absolutely.
crush pages?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was just the memory of my mother. She held on for 5 minutes after they arrived to the scene, and then she let go. And during the process of remembering all of the details, the very painful and traumatic details, I heard her voice, and I could hear her telling me, just hold on, somebody will be here soon.
Wow, that's great.
Yes. And then it just felt that it was a need for me to be able to share this story. There's so many people that are out there that suffer from painful, traumatic events in their life, and it's difficult when you haven't processed that and haven't worked through the pain and the heartache from that to move forward in a positive way.
So now that you are now a published author,
Yes.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
So what is the path from here? Where do you want to go now that you've done this? Are you working on another book? Are you going to do readings?
Yes, I would love to. I would love to do speaking engagements. I would love, if I can just help even one person with my story, then I know that everything I've come through in my life has been for a reason. It's definitely for a reason. There are many times when I would ask myself, why? When people go through a traumatic event,
Sure.
they ask themselves, why? They're referring to why me? Well, my why me was the same question, but it was, why did I survive and not my mother?
Yep.
And today I can say that I know now why.
Was it through the process of the book
It was
that
through the
helped you
process
discover
of the
that?
book.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Where can we find this book? Is it in bookstores? Is it online?
It is in bookstores. You can order it online. It's published through Tate Publishing, so it's available through their website as well. I do have a Facebook page for The Angels by My Side, and people can access the book there as well. I have a book signing coming up here in Heber this Friday, and it's going to be at the Heber Chamber of Commerce, which is 475 Main Street.
Okay, on Main in Heber.
Yep,
right?
in Heber, and it's from 1 to 3 p.m. And I'm going to be offering the book for a 2-for-1, because I think it's a great gift to give to moms. And then I also have information I've pulled together that we'll have available for all the local restaurants that are doing brunches and fun things for moms.
Yeah.
If the dads haven't made reservations or taken care of Mother's Day yet. So, yes.
Well, The Angels by My Side.
Yes.
And that refers to the EMTs.
That's correct.
And
yes, and actually, I recently got remarried in 2012, and one of the EMTs is the one who walked me down the aisle to give me away.
Special.
It is very special, yes.
Oh, Jeannie Webb Zeile, thank you. Congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much.
Friday down in Heber at the Chamber of Commerce on Main Street is your first opportunity to meet her face to face.
Yes.
Perfect timing with Mother's Day.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. We'll be back with more Mountain Morning Show after these messages.